From the Quantum Fiber Studio, this is Brock and Salk on Seattle Sports.
I don't read the internet, guys.
Take the bull by the hands.
And Brooke, you are. And Brooke, you are.
Now here are your hosts, Brock Eward and Mike Salk.
All right, hello. Let's get this going. It's the Brock and Salk Show on Seattle Sports on 710, seattlesports.com, Seattle Sports app, podcast platforms, etc. My battle continues against all of you, Lyle, Maura, Brock, Cecily, Kyle, everyone in my life who's sniffling and sneezing and coughing and everything else.
I don't know what you're talking about.
I'm in a fight for my life right now, just desperately trying to fend off whatever germs all of you around me seem to have right now. So, little sniff this morning. So,
Lyle, you good?
Yeah, I feel fine.
You are not good. I've listened to both of you for the last few days, doing all of your sniffing. Yeah, I've heard it all. Don't even try me. I'm at war, and I'm willing to strategize and do whatever I have to do in order to keep myself safe from you. So, doing the best I can, but I got no promises about the future. Lots to do today. Brock's in again, which is great. He'll be sitting next to me, which is always kind of fun to have him in studio. And we got a lot of football stuff. Obviously, Cooper Kupp was the story of the day yesterday as he met not only the media, but also with Wyman and Bob, who did, of course, a great job with that interview. And there's a lot of really cool stuff coming out of it. In 15 minutes, I'll play you a piece of sound that I think is the sound of the day. The sound of the day. Every time I hear it, kind of jumps out to me for a few different reasons. So we'll kind of talk through that in Need to Know in 15 minutes. I'm actually going to start with a different piece of sound that jumped out to me when I listened to it. This was also from Wyman and Bob yesterday. So good on them for having an awesome show and putting together a few really cool interviews. And this one is with, let me just state this first, just a quick little aside. We try not to step on each other's toes. In general, here at the station. There's a lot of radio stations around the country, a lot of sports stations around the country where the shows compete with each other, fight with each other, argue with each other, get jealous of each other, get mad at each other, etc. And one of the cool things about this station is that's generally not really been the case. I think. Not saying there haven't been little incidents or people that write columns after they leave or things like that, but in general, it's been pretty good in terms of that. And one of the reasons that I think we try anyway, like we know who's got a relationship with whom, and so we try not to step too much on each other's toes that way. One of the people that I'm jealous of is that Wyman and Bob, especially Bob, has this relationship with Greg Amsinger, who I really like. I think Greg is great. But we don't really have him on the show other than I think one time when we ran into him at spring training because it's kind of Bob's guy and you don't want to get in the middle of that. That's his dude, right? Like Adam Ray is Bob's guy. We're not going to have like El Hombre on or something like that. Like those are Bob's guys. That's fine. But the Amsinger one always makes me a little jealous because I really do like Greg Amsinger. I think he's funny. I think he's smart. I think he's a good guest, so I'm a little jealous of that. I want to state that for the record.
More jealous than Adam Ray?
We've had Adam on. I like Adam personally. He's great. But no, the Amsinger one appeals to me just as comedians can be hard at times to interview. I like Adam a lot, and he's great whenever he comes on. But Amsinger just has like a specific type of energy that I really like and I think is great on a show. Anyway, he's a good guest. So he said this yesterday, and I had not thought about this. Half of this I really agree with. Half of it I'm not entirely sure about. This was Greg Amsinger on one of the reasons I had not really considered why Dan Wilson is here instead of Scott Servais.
He's one of us, right? No matter how long Scott Servais managed the Seattle Mariners, he was Jerry's guy. It's hard for players to believe that Scott always has their back. Or any manager with a very intimate relationship like that, where they are boys and they've been together for a while, and that's his guy, right? That is, again, the human element is always injected in a game that's a marathon like this. Why do you think the Cincinnati Reds pounced on getting a guy like Terry Francona? They knew they had a bunch of young players that were about to turn the corner. Get a guy that knows how to lead them.
All right, so that's really good sound. And I kind of want to talk through a few different pieces of that. Let's start with the beginning. Dan Wilson is one of us, he says, referring to the players. Dan Wilson is one of us. He doesn't have the same ties to Jerry Dipoto that Scott Servais did. That's a good point. I hadn't really thought about it that way. I think kind of being in and around the Mariner organization, knowing people in the organization, generally I think that can be helpful. But as Brock and I have said many times, sort of the inside knowledge that we have can be really helpful to try to get it out to you guys in our own way. But occasionally it can kind of help you or not. It can cause you to not see the forest for the trees. And anyone who's around the Mariners for the last couple of years, especially last year, knew that the relationship between Scott Servais and Jerry Dipoto was not great. It's one of the reasons it ultimately ended, is that their relationship really wasn't great. And if you go through like the annals of why, of reasons why managers get fired, I'll bet you, God, I guess I couldn't give you a number, but 75%, 80% of the time, guess, that's not like a real number, I'm making it up, but 75, 80%, I think is because the GM and the manager stopped being able to communicate well. In my time covering the Red Sox, that was always a thing. Who's the manager's guy? Who's the GM's guy? Who's ownership's guy? Why did GM gets one coach and the manager gets two coaches and the owner gets, and this guy's a spy for that guy? Like, that was always a thing in Boston, sort of who was whose guy. It obviously came to a huge head when Bobby Valentine was the manager there briefly, and I think he believed that like ownership was tapping his phone. I mean, like, that was the level of kind of almost feudalism, right? Where everybody had their own little spots staked out. And I do think last year things reached a head with Jerry and Scott. They were no longer the great friends that they had been when they first started this thing together. And obviously over the years, we've heard some of the player complaints about, the front office, so to speak, and as represented by Jerry Dipoto. So I think Greg makes a really interesting point there that I hadn't really thought about, that one of those issues in the clubhouse may have been the connection between Jerry and Scott. It's just funny that by the end, there wasn't a relationship between Jerry and Scott, certainly no good one. And so for that to be the reason for him to get let go is kind of an interesting thought. But he's maybe not even talking about why he gets let go. He's talking almost more about what happens now, which is kind of a fresh slate there. There's a buffer. There's a true buffer between players and the GM, president, front office. That's probably a good thing. And that's an advantage Dan Wilson, Edgar have that I hadn't really thought about. It's pretty cool. Great job by Greg Amsinger. The flip side of it is the second part of that conversation, and I've complained about this since the day it happened. The one problem with hiring Dan, and not just hiring him as a interim manager till the end of the year, but hiring him as a permanent manager, is that you missed out on the opportunity to go talk to a couple of other guys who are out there who would have really provided a lot of credibility. Specifically, yes, Terry Francona. And he says it there. The Reds are turning the corner. They've got a young group. They want to bring in a guy who really knows how to lead them. That's what Tito is. Right? He's won multiple World Series, brought two different teams to the World Series, had the Indians at the time 1 game away from winning their first and forever, in addition to what he did in Boston. Like, Tito's a legend. You hire Terry Francona, it changes the entire perception of everything, including this offseason. Skip Schumacher, Stephen Vogt. Like, there were some people out there that I think would have really changed a lot of the perception around what the Mariners did. Doesn't mean Dan Wilson won't be as good as those guys. I hope Dan Wilson wins a World Series here and is crowned as a hero forever and ever. But there's a lot more unknown and risk factor with a guy who had never done it before last year. Surprising to me that you would, again, move on from Scott before the season ended last year. I'm not done. I'm not over that yet. I just think it was the wrong decision. Would have waited until the end of the year and then made whatever moves you want to make. And if you're going to do it, I don't think you hire somebody long-term without an interview process, because I think you owe it to yourself, the fans, the players, everybody, the organization, to see who was going to be out there, like Tito, like Schumacher, et cetera, this offseason. Anyway, great points by Greg Amsinger, and just sort of jumped out to me that, that's another really cool upside of Dan Wilson and also some of the frustration of the process that led us to kind of where we are right now with the Mariners. I'll just give you one more from Greg because we talked yesterday about the urgency at the beginning of the year, and somehow me saying that there was a lot of urgency at the beginning of the year turned into yet another conversation about whether or not the baseball season is longer than a month. But whatever. I do believe this is an important start to this season. That was the point I was trying to make yesterday, and Amsinger agrees.
There are certain teams that I believe could lose a postseason spot in the month of April and half of May. One of those two teams, the Cleveland Guardians. The Seattle Mariners are the other team. The starting rotation has to be so good that it gets Jerry to go to ownership and say, guys, I told you I wasn't going to spend any money in free agency. You didn't want me to do that. But let me get back to doing what I do. I know how to make trades. Let me go do this. Let me go get the bats we need. I can't see Jerry Dipoto and A.J. Preller sitting on their hands much longer.
Yeah, I think it's a good point, and similar to some of the, part of the argument I made yesterday of, look, this team starts off fast. You get more buy-in to a new system. You get farther away from any issues with how quiet the offseason was. And, oh, by the way, you also get the possibility of adding sooner rather than later. It's a pretty good trio and a really, really good reason for this team to get it going early in April rather than waiting until the middle of the season. All right. I promised that I had really great sound from Cooper Kupp. There's one thing more than anything else that stood out to me, and you will hear it as soon as we start Need to Know next.
Seattle Sports, your home for Wyman and Bob. Weekdays 2 to 7.
The Sam Darnold contract details, it's essentially a one-year deal if they want to get out of this.
It looks like a good deal to me. I don't think there's anybody that could be sideways about this contract.
I think this is a great deal. I think John nailed it.
There is some question as to which Sam Darnold it is. There was those pesky 6 years where it wasn't good for Sam Darnold.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
Welcome to Staples.
I hear Staples prints it all for any business.
You bet, and we'll beat any print quote.
So if I had a pizza place...
Staples can print signs, menus, pizza boxes.
A landscaping business?
Oh, we can print yard signs, T-shirts, brochures.
How about a pizza/landscaping business? I'll call it Dough and Mo.
I like it.
Right now at Staples, get up to $250 off your print purchase. Ends 4/5, exclusions apply. Visit staples.com/print for offer details. Price match guarantee valid in store and staples.com/print. Visit staples.com/price match for details.
Tired of hearing scary radio ads about the IRS? Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000 or $500,000, we have a solution. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS with zero risk to you. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with a BBB. End your tax nightmare today by visiting TRA.com or call 800-583-6681. That's 800-583-6681.
If you're 55 and up, T-Mobile has plans built just for you. 2 lines of unlimited for just $30 a line. That's a 45% savings compared to Verizon and AT&T. But don't just take our word for it.
It's not just the savings that are great with our T-Mobile plan. There's all this value from all these other things that T-Mobile offers.
T-Mobile has been such a savings for us.
We love it.
Switch today and get 2 free 5G phones like the Motorola Edge with Turbo Power charging that gives you power for the day in just 15 minutes. And customers 55 and up can get 2 lines of talk, text, and data for only $30 a line. Go to T-Mobile.com/choice55 to learn more. With AutoPay plus taxes and fees, plus $5 per line without AutoPay. Debit or bank account required. 45% off 2 lines versus AT&T Starter and Verizon Welcome. Plan benefits vary. Motorola Edge on us with 24 monthly bill credits and new line for well-qualified customers, plus tax and $35 per line connection charge. See details at T-Mobile.com. Motorola Edge requires 68-watt charger. Charger sold separately. Actual performance will vary based on usage and configuration.
Protein, protein, protein. Everyone is trying to get protein in their diet, but we need fats too. Healthy fat, that is, like the rich, natural peanut and almond butters found at G2G protein bars. Most bars don't have it because, well, most bars aren't real food or refrigerated. Fortunately for you, we aren't most bars. At G2G, you'll find a balanced helping of protein and healthy fat. The fact that they're delicious is just the bonus. They're fast, easy, and perfect for on-the-go families. G2G protein bars. Find them in the refrigerated section at Costco.
Progressive knows not all rides are smooth. Meet Peter. He loves his motorcycle. What he doesn't love is wind. Which is ironic because wind is a big part of the whole wind-in-your-face motorcycle cliche. But nobody ever tells you how relentless a storm crosswind is, or the cliche wouldn't exist. Not every ride is smooth, but Progressive has your back. Get a quote to see if you can save with America's #1 motorcycle insurer. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, not available in D.C.
Something amazing is happening at work. Innovative tools are helping people do better work. That's because CDW configuration specialists are multiplying productivity with Microsoft Windows 11 Pro Surface devices. Built-in security, flexibility, and simplified management streamline tasks so your team can get more done. Microsoft and CDW make amazing happen. Learn more at cdw.com/surface.
Subscribe to the Seattle Sports YouTube page to find new and exclusive content from your favorite shows and personalities daily. Just head to YouTube, search Seattle Sports, and click subscribe.
They say teachers don't impact for a year, but for a lifetime. Hi, this is Rick Riz. Join WSECU, your local credit union, as we celebrate those who give so much with the Teacher of the Week program. Nominate a teacher you feel has changed a life in our community. Each week throughout the season, we'll honor one teacher with a $500 grant, courtesy of WSECU. Teachers are the real MVPs. Find out more and nominate a teacher at mynorthwest.com/teacher.
Meanwhile, at Xfinity.
So, influencer life going well?
Oh, yeah. I'm up to 32 followers.
Oh, that's something.
Yeah, posting my tap dancing videos is easier than ever because we engineered Xfinity Internet with 99.99% network reliability.
Plus, Xfinity Mobile with Wi-Fi Power Boost gives you ultra-fast Wi-Fi at home and on the go. But wait, tap dancing? You don't tap dance.
Hey, what I lack in skill, I make up with passion.
Do more of what you love and love how fast you do it with Xfinity Internet and mobile. And now through April 21st, get 300 megabit Xfinity Internet and one unlimited mobile line together for $25 a month for 1 year and save $1,000 in your first year over Verizon and AT&T. Learn more at Xfinity.com. Requires paperless billing and autopay with stored bank account. Restrictions apply. Equipment, taxes, and fees extra. After promo, regular rates apply. Savings compared to Verizon 5G Internet plus one unlimited welcome line and AT&T Internet 300 plus one unlimited starter SL line. Xfinity Internet required. Actual speeds vary. Reduced speeds after 30 gigabits of usage per line. Data thresholds and actual savings vary.
It's the World Fighting Championships at Emerald Queen Casino Event Center. Saturday night, May 10th. Experience the thrill of live MMA, boxing, Muay Thai, and kickboxing. Tickets at emeraldqueen.com. Don't miss this exciting mixed martial arts event. The World Fighting Championships, May 10th at Emerald Queen Casino, the entertainment capital of the Northwest. 21 and older, need gambling help? Call 800-547-6133 or visit emeraldqueen.com.
Need to know.
15 minutes past every hour with Brock and Salk.
Here's what you need to know. Up first.
Well, we already said welcome home to Cooper Kupp, but now it's official after he met with the media yesterday, decked out in his Pearl Jam shirt and more plaid. Well, you can look up who Pearl Jam is. He was wearing the shirt yesterday. They're sort of a famous band. You'll listen to some of them eventually, I think. He's going to wear number 10, maybe more appropriate for the Pearl Jam thing, after making a nice donation to Uchenna Nwosu's foundation. And this was the thing that really jumped out to me, just how confident he is that he's still one of the great players in football.
I see myself as an ascending player. I get to see every rep I take. I get to see every practice rep. I get to see every off-season rep. I get to see every workout rep that I take. I get to experience all these things, and I see myself playing this game, and I envision what I see a DB doing something. I envision how I want to run around, what I want this thing to look like. If I couldn't do that, I'd be done. It wouldn't be fun to me anymore if I couldn't do that. The way I see myself is still being able to manipulate these guys and do the things that I want to do. That's who I am. And that's who I believe myself to be. All the other stuff, all the narratives out there about anything else, they don't get to have the whole picture. They don't get to have the whole story. But I believe in myself and who I am. And I'm really excited to be able to come out and play really good football. Really excited to be able to play some high-level football and be the player that I see myself as.
I think that's a great sound and just a great attitude for him to take. And I've never heard an athlete explain it quite that way, with sort of being able to look at the whole picture and what they do, not just in front of us, but in practice and the work that gets done ahead of time. Good on Cooper Kupp, and hopefully that's all true, and he is still an ascending player, at the very least a maintaining player and not a descending one. So much for the Sam Darnold, Garrett Bradbury connection. That didn't happen. He's not going to be here in Seattle. Signs instead with the New England Patriots. No reports yet after the Tevin Campbell visit. So we'll see if the team will head into the draft without making another move in the interior of the offensive line. Those are two guys that have been recently rumored to be of interest.
Here's the second thing you need to know.
Mariners get a win yesterday behind Brian Wu. Struggled a little bit in the first, gave up a 3-run shot, but then turned it around. And the bats showed up a few innings later. Cal went yard. Victor Robles went deep.
The pitch to him. Swung on, golfed high in the air, left field. It's got loft. Collins back. He's at the track. He's looking up. Bye-bye. Onto the berm. Victor Robles, a 3-run smash. A majestic 3-run home run by Victor.
Kind of like that. 2-hit days for Arozarena, who also threw a runner out at the plate, for Raley, for Solano. And yes, in case you're counting, 2 more errors yesterday for the Mariners. But to be fair, they were made by a pitcher who's not going to be on the roster and a minor leaguer who's not going to be on the roster. So, I mean, some of these stats are meaningful. Some of them are not. What, are you going to get mad because a guy you're never going to see again made an error because a pitcher threw a ball away? Like, you know, that's not necessarily indicative of some of the problems they have, but they get kind of added on top of all the other defensive problems we've seen so far this spring. By the way, nice to see Dylan Moore get a hit. He stole a base as well. Still no Julio in the lineup yesterday. Dan Wilson explains.
I think he's still a bit under the weather from what I understand. So, just kind of take it day by day with him. And it has gone through a few guys. So it's not something you want to get. So protect yourselves.
See, me and Julio, once again, kind of on the same page, just trying to protect ourselves from the likes of all of you guys who are walking around breathing germs all over us.
Here's the third thing you need to know.
Kraken on fire last night. Yeah, it was against the Blackhawks. They're not very good, but still fun. They get down 2 early and answered with 6 straight goals. Shane Wright had 2 of those. Adam Larson had 1, and in a couple of assists. Here was Jared McCann.
Steal by Andre Burakovsky. Great hand dive by McCann. Here he comes. He scores! Hey, what do you say? Jared McCann. High cheddar on Spencer Knight, and the Kraken have a 3-2 lead.
Yeah, they kept adding to it. Beniers had 1. Eberle had 1, as well as they win 6-2 and will play tonight in Minnesota. So much for lawsuits and any of the silliness. North Carolina stomps San Diego State in the play-in game. They earned one of the last 2 11 seeds. They will go, or actually went 14 of 24 from behind the arc. They win by 27 points. That is everything you need to know. 1:15 here on the Brock and Salk Show. I think that pretty much ends the lawsuit that the governor of West Virginia and the AG of West Virginia were going to launch against the NCAA.
I don't know. West Virginia still should have gotten in, and I don't think North Carolina is actually that good.
Nobody said that. Hey, I didn't say. Whoa! I didn't say North Carolina should have gotten in, or that. I don't know about any of that. But a lawsuit is absurd.
Well, all right.
100% absurd.
All right, yeah.
And looks even more absurd after North Carolina comes out and does what they did last night. Like, yeah, I don't know. That one's not going to work for me. Okay, I got a question that I don't think you'll hear anywhere else. I'll ask it to Brock and the rest of you at 7 o'clock. I don't think anyone else today will be thinking about this or talking about it. It was a little offbeat, but that's coming up at 7. Before we get there, Aaron Goldsmith had huge news in his personal professional life this offseason, and we got a chance to talk to him about that and also what he saw down at spring training. It's next on Brock and Salk.
Opening day is almost here, and we're sending one of you and a friend to experience it like never before.
Swing and a drive, deep to left field.
With front row access to all the opening day ceremonies, from player introductions to Ichiro's ceremonial first pitch, all from the field. To enter, just open the Seattle Sports app, then click on the Win tab. If you don't already have the app, simply text app to 866-979-3776, and we'll send you a link to download. Enter daily to increase your chances to win. This contest runs through Friday, March 21st.
More time. Amazon Business offers smart business buying solutions so you can spend more time growing your business and less time doing the admin. I can see why they call it smart. Learn more at amazonbusiness.com.
Check engine light on? Take the guesswork out of your check engine light with O'Reilly Veriscan. It's free. Ask for O'Reilly Veriscan today.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Mornings can start feeling the same. Wake up, brush teeth, go to work. But with breakfast from Wendy's, it's like, wake up, brush teeth, Baconate with a breakfast Baconator. Roll with the sausage breakfast burrito. Buddy it up with a honey buddy. Or get seasoned with seasoned potatoes. And then go to work. Sorry. When you're ready for a fresh wake-up call, gotta be Wendy's.
At participating U.S. Wendy's during breakfast hours.
What is that sound? Ugh, that sounds like a plumbing sound. Luckily, there's a company that fixes all the plumbing sounds across Puget Sound. That's All Sound Plumbing. Puget Sound's plumbing experts. Have a sound? Visit allsoundplumbing.com.
On March 28th,
a 19-year-old girl was kidnapped. I'm gonna bring her home.
Jason Statham is a working man.
Where's the girl? You a cop? You wish I was a cop.
From the director of The Beekeeper.
This is human trafficking.
You do this, you better go full on.
Is that a grenade?
Yep.
You ain't a cop. You're a working man.
That's right. Time to get to work.
A working man. Rated R. Under 17. Not admitted without parent. Only in theaters March 28th.
Riverside Roofing is offering $1,000 off a new roof replacement. Book a free estimate online, and when you meet with Brandon, that's Don's son, tell him you heard the message on the radio station. Go to riversideroofingllc.com. It's Riverside Roofing, the roofing company you can trust.
Diabetes, high blood pressure, anxiety meds, everyone's on them. If you're a 50-year-old male, maybe a bit porky, and you may even have type 2 diabetes, $1 million of term insurance may only cost you about $200 a month. Call Term Provider. Speak with Big Lou at 800-777-1225. Big Lou will find a term life policy for you even if you have type 2 diabetes, are overweight, or have high blood pressure. Term Provider has helped thousands of people like you who think they can't afford term life insurance. To buy $1 million of affordable term life for you, all you need to do is call Big Lou at 800-777-1225. Lou will make sure the scales are tipped in your favor. Call 800-777-1225. Big Lou will answer your call and work to fit you into a term life policy that you can afford. Remember, Big Lou's like you. He's on meds too. Call 800-777-1225. 800-777-1225 or biglou.com.
Bonneville International radio station contests are open to participants 18 years of age or older that are residents of Washington State unless otherwise specified. Employees or agents of the station, Bonneville International Corporation, other area radio stations, or any entity associated with the contests are not eligible to win unless the station otherwise specifies at its own discretion. Persons who have won in the last 60 days from a station contest or event may not be eligible. Full general contest rules are available on seattlesports.com or in person at the station during regular business hours. The noon hour of the Bump and Stacy Show is powered every day by the caring and compassionate team at Pendergast Law Personal Injury Lawyers. Go to pendergastlaw.com.
Just Cause Legal knows the value of standing up for what's right. If you've been in a car crash, Just Cause Legal is here to fight for you. With aggressive auto insurance lawyers on your side, you will secure the compensation you deserve. Just Cause Legal makes the process as painless as possible. Don't wait. Time is critical. Get the help needed today. Visit justcauselegal.com or call 253-859-8899 and meet your legal lifesavers. Just Cause Legal, fighting for you.
Window Nation customers have been singing our praises for years. With fast, local service and an industry-leading 96% customer satisfaction rating, it's no wonder.
I researched window companies for the last year to see what the average prices were and the quality of work. Window Nation nailed both.
Get 2 windows free with every 2 you buy. Pay no interest for 2 full years. Hurry, this offer ends soon. Schedule a free estimate now. Call 866-90-NATION or visit windownation.com. That's 866-90-NATION.
This is Steve Amman, president of Pacific Power Batteries. And when we hear, oy vey, zut alors, or oofta, we know that battery prices are high these days. Our job is to control our costs and offer a great value to you. We tried calling our vendors to ask them to stop raising prices, but they haven't returned our calls. Whether it's a brand new battery, a reconditioned battery with a 90-day guarantee, or a factory second with a 1-year guarantee, we'll have something for your budget. So stop in at any Pacific Power Battery store, and we promise to help you.
March is here, and Toyota of Renton and Toyota of Kirkland have teamed up to take away your car buying madness. At Toyota of Kirkland and Toyota of Renton, they have the widest selection of new and certified used inventory and the largest savings in the region. Now that's a slam dunk. The all-star staff at Toyota of Renton and Kirkland will assist you with a test drive, and you can score that car the very same day. Come see for yourself or visit online at toyotaofrenton.com or toyotaofkirkland.com.
Brock and Salk's Rewind is presented by Toyota of Kirkland and Toyota of Renton.
From the Quantum Fiber Studio, you're listening to Brock and Salk.
Weekdays 6 to 10.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
All right, Aaron Goldsmith going to join us in a moment or two. We're efforting Aaron Goldsmith. We're having a little technical.
Well, we're trying to get that hair for you all to see.
Yeah, we want you guys to see Aaron. We want you to see the beautiful coif.
Does
the whole
show
deal
up at 8:30 in the morning?
Yeah, I think it does.
I
would imagine he rolls out of bed and already the coif is
kind
of where you want it to be. But we're having some technical issues behind the scenes. So we're getting Aaron on the phone here in just a moment, and we'll chat some baseball with him. We do have a new Daniel Jeremiah mock draft with a name that I have not seen once mocked to the Seahawks. We'll discuss at 9 o'clock. Nobody, I have not seen this anywhere else. Nowhere else, only DJ. Has this name and this position mocked to the Seahawks at number 18.
I think it was DJ. Was it DJ also that said, watch him trade Geno and DK? Wasn't he one of the few?
He was one of the few. But he's had a couple different mocks. I mean, you know how DJ is.
Sure.
He'll some of it has to do with the way the board looks ahead of them.
Started with KG. Remember that? KG was the first one.
Kenneth Grant. Yeah. And then he's gone kind of all over the board there. So I'll read that to you at 9 o'clock. You will hear a new position for the Seahawks mocked by our friend Daniel Jeremiah. But right now, our other friend, Aaron Goldsmith. Good morning, Aaron. How are you?
Good morning, gentlemen. It's been a while. How are you guys doing?
It has, and we're sad we couldn't get you on video today. I don't know what was going on, but we were really hoping to see the coif this morning.
Well, you know, it's not ready at this hour. You know that. That's why I sabotaged the video. You know that, right?
Sounds about right. You're back from Arizona, though, right? You were down there. You've returned. What did you see down there?
I am back. I'll be going back for our last TV game. Is the second to final game, so I'll be heading back one more time. But
actually, hold on. You know what? Before you even do any of that, let me interrupt you. This is too important. We haven't spoken to you since the news came out. Congratulations. You are going to be the primary everyday TV play-by-play voice for the Seattle Mariners. Congratulations. Shame on us for not starting the interview there.
Well, I appreciate that. Thank you. Yeah, I'm excited to be in one chair for the full season, and it's certainly a dream come true. It's something that I at some point I figured would be coming my way. Wasn't sure when it would, but I'm very, very grateful and very excited. So I appreciate you saying that.
A lot of talk about the year 2021, the impact Big 12 made on you, that season filling in a few times. A lot of talk about that, kind of getting you over the hump.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. I would call that year the tip of the spear for me, Brock.
Yes.
All right. Now that the formalities, the pleasantries are out of the way, let's get back to what you saw while you were down in Peoria. What stood out?
All right. The number one thing that stood out to me has nothing to do with this year's big league club, more than likely. I would say I haven't seen a young prospect, a young player, seem more comfortable as himself than Cole Emerson. Mm-hmm. I mean, truly. I talked with him numerous times. I watched him in a number of Cactus League games. I saw him in the breakout game as well that one night in Goodyear. And it really is remarkable to me that a kid that young who he was in high school like yesterday, right? Mm-hmm. Who has seen his prospect stock go from already really high to even higher, like arguably a top 20 prospect in the game, depending on who you ask, and obviously the Mariners' top prospect. Just be so at ease and so relaxed and not feel this need like he has to come in a big league camp and blow the doors off and be the man, which obviously he's not going to make the big league team, but we've all seen it before where young players come up and they try to do too much, right? They swing too hard. And we've seen a lot of guys come up in the 7th, 8th, and 9th inning in Cactus League games who are 19, 20, 21 years old and swing so hard that they truly fall down, right? Because they're trying to hit it 500 feet. And I've never seen a young player that at ease and that confident and that in control of who he is as Cole Emerson. And who knows what his future will hold, what his ceiling will be, but I understand why the club is so high on him and why the industry, truthfully, has become so high on him, even since being drafted in the first round. It's just, he's a really impressive young man.
It was interesting, and this was a couple weeks prior, right? We were down there on kind of early, Aaron, on the front end of it, and we sat with him, and he left. And I think Salk and I both looked at each other like, gosh, that could be Jared Kelnick's other brother. Like there's kind of a Kelnick as far as just an athleticism, a dynamic ability, but then the things that you wanted for Jared, just some of the emotional maturity, some of the stability, some of the, I don't know, even sweetness. I don't even know how to define it in some ways. But he walked away from us, and I think we
Consistency?
both, kind of felt that way. Like, man, I think that's what the Mariners would have hoped, and certainly Atlanta would have hoped, that they could get out of a Jared Kelnick, and this kid seems to have it at 19 years of age.
You know, I talked to him before I left, and he was telling me a story about when he played in a Cactus League game against the Padres, and the Padres had basically all big leaguers in the lineup, and the Mariners likewise. And Colt was kind of one of the few guys who won't be in the show this year. And he said as he was walking over to the ballpark from the practice side of things, he said, I don't care. I don't care who's over there. I don't care who I'm playing against. I'm just going to do what I do. I'm going to play like I play. And it doesn't matter to me if it's Manny Machado at third base, right? If it's Fernando Tatis in right field. And we've all heard of players trying to trick themselves. Like I remember talking to Jared Kelnick and him telling me ways that he tries to trick himself. And I don't care what position you play or how young or old you are. One of the things that I'm always amazed with is just how well big league ball players can trick themselves into thinking and believing something. And for him to be able to kind of have that mindset and buy into it, which is obviously the hardest part, right? Anybody can say, well, just think this, right? But to actually be able to buy into it and have it impact your play in a positive way, I think is really impressive to me, regardless if you've never played on the show or if you've got 10 years. And so for a young man of his youth to be able to do that and to play as well as he did. Now it's spring training, right? Like it is what it is. But nevertheless, I can't wait to see kind of what his season has in store and when he'll reach Seattle. I mean, the more I spend time with him and watch him play, I keep thinking it might be even sooner than we all might think.
Well, it is reminiscent of a guy who arrived in Seattle sooner than some people thought. That's Julio Rodriguez. What did you make and what did you think of seeing Julio down there and what he brings to this season?
I thought Julio looked perfectly fine. I mean, honestly, as long as he's walking on the plane with no aches and pains at the end of spring training, that's all I care about. And I'm guessing that's all the Mariners care about. I asked Cal Raleigh the other day, I said, you've got Kevin Seitzer here, you've got Edgar Martinez here, and there's this new dynamic, right? Of you've got kind of the Godfather hitting coach and then the day-to-day hitting coach in Seitzer. And I asked him, like, what's this like? What's their relationship like in terms of how it impacts the players, the communication, the messaging? And Cal gave me like the greatest answer. He's like, well, I mean, it's good so far, but it's spring training. And it's like, yes, that's the answer. That's the answer. It's good so far, but it's spring training. If there's a problem right now, there's a real problem, right? Nobody should have any problems right now with messaging, communication, that kind of thing. And so there's been no conflict. There's been no stress. And so I think for right now, every team that has a turnover and a major coaching position like the Mariners have had are kind of feeling that way. So looping that back to Julio, like how will that messaging get across to Julio? What will be his buy-in? I think we've all heard his quotes and his comments talking about Edgar from last year, and he's kind of had the same on-brand messaging that he really feels like that was a major help to him. And if you look at Julio from July 1st to the end of the year, he was a top 20 offensive player in baseball, almost regardless of what category you look at. So I think we can all have some optimism that can carry over. But the thing with Julio, and it's not a surprise, like he has to figure out a way to get off to a better start. His April, May numbers for his career and even into June have paled in comparison to his July, August, September numbers. And there's been a real clear message from the top in Dan Wilson that every game matters. Now, when Dan says that, I don't think that means that he's going to throw Andres Munoz 8 games straight, right? But every game matters. And when you've come this close as the Mariners have and not made it like they have the last 2 years, you can understand why Dan is saying that. So the Julio and the Mariners, it's not just a Julio thing, it's a Mariners thing. They need to find a way to get off to a better start than they have in recent years.
How many spring trainings now for you, Goldie, here in Seattle?
This 13.
This was 13. Wow. And the majority of those, big chunk of those, were all with Scott Servais. Curious if you felt anything different with Dan steering the ship and not Scott.
Okay, like we're going to have an honesty session here. Okay. Like
I mean, we always do, right?
You could put, yeah, it's true, but I just wanted to really call myself out on this one. I mean, you could put Scott Servais or Dan Wilson or Sparky Anderson or Tony La Russa in that manager's office, and I think I'd walk out of the complex every day and be like, yeah, pretty much the same thing to me.
Were you here for Lloyd McClendon?
Even with Lloyd.
No,
I mean,
stop it. No.
I don't know. Honestly, like we walk in.
No.
We go in the clubhouse. Everybody's in a good mood. They go to the backfield. They do their things. Like you tell me, Salk, what was the difference with Lloyd?
He was grumpy every moment of every day. There was like
of course he is.
There was like he cast a shadow across everything. You had to feel some difference with Lloyd. I would agree that like the Scott versus Dan thing. I'm kind of with you, but come on, with Lloyd, no.
So you think like Lloyd was this like omnipresent cloud over all of Peoria?
Enjoy the journey.
That's right. Thank you, Lloyd. Appreciate that.
Hey, I will say, I waited outside Lloyd's office one time to get. This was on me. I was too young and naive to realize that I didn't have to wait for 2 hours to interview the manager for 5 minutes for a webcast in spring training. And so I waited. I was too young. I didn't know any better.
Uh-huh.
And so I waited outside of his door for 2 hours to interview him for a webcast spring training.
What do you think he was doing inside there for those 2 hours? Just staring at the wall?
So he opens the door, and I'm standing right there, and he literally eyes me up and down from forehead to toes and looks me back in the eyes and goes, I forgot all about you.
Yeah, you can't tell me that there was no difference between Dan Wilson, the friendliest person around. Everybody loves Dan, and Lloyd, who forgot about you for 2 hours.
I will say, I'll get back to your question, but I will say, Lloyd McClendon, I have to say something nice about Lloyd. He taught me one of the most valuable spring training lessons that I would love to pass along to everybody listening. So I also was an idiot with this situation. I actually am interviewing him for the pregame show, and the day before, the Mariners came back from like 7 runs behind in the 9th inning, and they scored 8, and they won the game, right? And I was too young and dumb to realize that I don't have to ask Lloyd about the semi-worthless 9th inning comeback of a Cactus in the game yesterday. I'm like, in my mind, I'm like, well, gosh, it was such a big comeback. I guess I should ask Lloyd McClendon, the manager, about this. So my first question to Lloyd was, hey, Lloyd, well, man, that was an amazing comeback. What did you make of that last night? And he kind of gives me a big huff and a gruff, and he says, well, I guess you could say that our AA players are better than their AA players. And I was like, oh, my gosh, that's exactly right. That's all it is. So to everybody who wants to talk about the records and the wins and the losses and all that stuff, just remember what Lloyd said. Mm-hmm. Who's AA and AAA players are better in the 7th, 8th, and 9th inning? Well, but getting back to your question, Dan, I've talked to a number of people, and it is amazing to me how I think kind of like free spring training felt to the people who actually know what's going on, unlike me. I think it felt lighter. I think it felt like less. Everything was so mapped out in terms of the morning before you actually hit the field. So I do think that it was received well by those who I talked to.
You bring up, it's funny, well, I guess I brought up Lloyd, but we kind of talked through some of the grumpiness of a Lloyd McClendon, who, for me was kind of like your stereotypical hitting coach, right? A lot of those guys just kind of sit in the cage, kind of grumpy. They don't say a lot. They're hard to find. I was blown away by how friendly and available Kevin Seitzer was, how relational he was, how...
What a son of a buck.
Yeah, I mean, he just seems like a guy that is looking to connect rather than looking to hide in the cage. It struck me as unique. I couldn't think of another hitting coach who was like that, and I wondered your thoughts on how much that could affect this team.
I think you definitely want to have a culture where there is a reason other than just getting your hacks in to go to the cage. And I'll give you an example. Now, Kevin Seitzer won't have the same clubhouse cred as Justin Turner, right? Because Justin Turner's a player, and that's just players gravitate to players. But when Justin Turner was here, players wanted to go to the cage because that's where Justin Turner was. And they wanted to talk to Justin Turner and hear his stories and ask him questions. And when you have that kind of a thing set up, that kind of a culture, and I don't know if it's completely, I don't know if any team could completely replicate it quite like that, but if you can get something close to it, and maybe Seitzer from a coaching standpoint can have something similar that will be different, but will be maybe similar in some ways that a coach could provide. And his assistant, Bobby Magallanes, who they worked together for a number of years in Atlanta. I think that's what you want. You want to have a reason to come to the cage and get some hacks in other than just, I need to get 20 swings off. And I do agree with you about Kevin and my interactions with him. And it might have even been on your program when he said that he went back and he watched the broadcast because he wanted, was that with you guys?
Yeah.
Like he wanted to actually hear, like he wanted to hear what was said. I was like, oh man, I hope he liked what I said. To me, that was just a whole nother level of I want to get indoctrinated into this organization as fast as I can. So I was super excited about that hire. He's got a great track record. Obviously had a wonderful career, but has a great track record as a hitting coach, and my interactions with him have been nothing short of fabulous.
Goldie, I got two last questions for you. Give me a gold, silver, and bronze medalist of who you think is going to win the gold, the silver, and the bronze when it comes to a bounce-back season 2025.
To quote Brock,
You know why he says that so much? His partner's so right all the time that he's constantly just saying yes.
Yeah. Would you consider, would Julio be a bounce back season in your mind?
You know, you've worked with me. This is your canvas. You painted.
Oh, you're such a good partner. Okay. I would say, I think the Mariners making the playoffs is fairly contingent on Julio being a top 5, top 3 MVP finisher. Okay. So I would put Julio at the top there. I feel pretty strongly that J.P. Crawford will look a lot more like J.P. Crawford. I don't know if he will replicate 2 years ago. That could be a really great career year if that was the case. But I think he can get closer to that, and I think it's very important for the Mariners. And I feel pretty strongly about Jorge Polanco. Like, I have a hard time thinking that you turn 31 and you just fall off a cliff forever. So it's hard for me to decipher silver and bronze between Polanco and JP, but I'll stick in the order I gave you, JP and then Jorge. So that's my gold, silver.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Thanks for giving me the freedom on that, Brock. I really appreciate that.
It leaves out Mitch Garver though, and we spent a while going through the detailed back and forth year by year numbers of Garver. I know you know them, but just the OPS plus going 104, 157. 42, 139, 98, 138, 85. It's bizarre. Can you come up with another player who has done anything like that?
Yeah, his name is J.P. Crawford.
I guess it's true. Crawford's been sort of like that too. Yeah.
It's been the notes that I keep on players. It's like 1 year it's best season of his career. Next year it's season lows across the board. Next year it's by far outlier best year of his career. Next year, fewest games, lowest production. I mean, it's bananas. And I was thinking about it was between Garver and Polanco on that, and I chose Polanco, but I think Garver will have a bounce back simply because I don't believe that he can be that bad 2 years in a row.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't think. I mean, can it happen? Of course, it's baseball. Anything can happen, but I don't think that it will. And I think anything that he gives will certainly be better than what it was last year. And obviously, the team isn't as expecting as much as they were last year, which does kind of cloud your vision a little bit on what his production might be. But I think that's the boat that the Mariners are in right now, right? It's just you are hoping for some level of bounce back for so many different players. And to me, that's the difference. When we talk at some point down the road, this will be where the transition for the Mariners is. When do we, as observers of the Mariners, whether you're talk show hosts, broadcasters, or fans, when do we move from hope to expectation, right? Because there is an expectation for Logan Gilbert and George Kirby and Luis Castillo and Bryce Miller and even Brian Wu, for that matter. There is an expectation for Andres Munoz. There's mostly hope for every hitter in that lineup, with the exception of Cal Raleigh. And, I feel pretty good about Luke Raley, actually. He's done it 2 years in a row. We've only seen one of them, but it's back-to-back years of really good production when he's in the role that he fits, which is go out there and mash righties.
Mm-hmm.
But how many guys in that lineup of 9 can the Mariners move from hope to expectation? That's the hurdle. And I think we all hope that this time next year, it's okay, no, there's an expectation now. But for a lot of years at this point, it's been hope that has underscored at least the majority, and that can just mean 5, the majority of the guys in that lineup.
One thing that I really did enjoy, Salk, working with Goldie that year, doing a bunch of football, is just feeling like, you kind of learn each other in a booth too. And he's, you've worked with, I think, everybody you're going to work with this year. Have you done that with Dave and Jay? Have you been in the TV booth with those guys?
I think I've done a game with Val forever ago, but I have gone to a buffet with Val, which I feel like is a life-changing moment anyway. So I feel like I really got to know Val very well that way. And Bone, I've never done a 2-man booth with him, but I've done plenty of 3-man booths with Bone. So
that's gonna be a wild ride. I mean, it is. It always is. Every conversation with Jay is a wild ride. No.
I think that's the perfect way to describe it. Yeah, let's put it this way. I think for everybody's sake, it's a good thing that the game is sped up by 30 minutes.
Yeah. I think that's a good point. Yeah.
That's why they call me the skipper.
Oh, that's more Lloyd. I got so much Lloyd McClendon in our system, man. If you ever want to be entertained by just listening,
that's a good team over there, and they played like it today. Hats off to them.
Hats off. You just got to tip your cap to them. Yeah.
No, my favorite one, which I actually think this is true. It's a truism. They drive Mercedes too.
That's just Lloyd sighing. I got so much.
And I think this team is going to be just fine.
Probably not, Lloyd. I don't think they are. You know what you might want to do? Take them on a little tour of the bases and teach them how to run. Let's see if they can make 4 outs at each base the next night. Aaron, thank you. Much appreciated. It is seriously, congratulations. Yeah. We're excited to be able to watch you every night. We're a little bummed you won't be doing as many radio games, but awesome that you'll be on TV. Great for you, and glad you're still going to be a part of the pregame. And we'll talk to you throughout the year.
It's wonderful being with you guys. Thanks for having me. You guys take care.
All right, there you go. There's Aaron Goldsmith, who is always tremendous fun and a great guest in his own right. So even though I was jealous of Greg Amsinger yesterday, or Bob and Dave having Greg Amsinger, I was excited to talk to Aaron Goldsmith, who was great and also gives great guests. All right, as I said, a ton of stuff today in a bunch of different directions, but I promise you that the question I will ask Brock next, I don't think you'll hear anywhere else. Maybe you will. I mean, you never know. Maybe I'm not as unique as I think I am, but I don't think you'll.
You're unique.
Thank you, Maura. I appreciate that.
You're welcome.
I think that was a compliment. It kind of depends how you want to hear it. You know what? I'll choose to view that as a compliment, and I'll just say what you will get next will be unique to the Brock and Salk show. It's next on Brock and Salk.
Fourth down territory. Going inside the game with former Cougs and Seahawks wide receiver Michael Bumpus.
What's the film study shown you on Marquez Valdez-Scantling?
I like it. He's a player that runs his routes with effort. There are some guys who just look really smooth when they do their thing. He's an effort type of guy. I think he understands how to attack leverage. He's a willing blocker, and that's something you have to do in this Kubiak offense. And even in that Kubiak offense, the effort is always there.
Fourth down territory. Every day at 11:15 and 1:15 on Bump and Stacy.
Sometimes even heroes need rescuing.
I'm a retired firefighter, 27 years.
Kurt had severe pain in his knees and his shoulder, which was keeping him from enjoying his well-deserved retirement.
Loved to ski, loved to fish, and couldn't even walk 18 holes.
That's why Kurt decided to see Dr. Mark Wagner, MD at Seattle Sports and Regenerative Medicine for stem cell therapy.
He was just awesome. He goes, yeah, give me a shot. And he took care of me. He stemmed my knee and my shoulder.
And how are you feeling now?
I was pain-free in 12 weeks. I play golf now pain-free, and it's awesome.
So you'd recommend this treatment to others in your situation?
Absolutely. Yeah, Dr. Wagner's, he's had a couple people call me, and I recommended that they do it.
Before you choose surgery, consider stem cell therapy with Dr. Mark Wagner, MD at Seattle Sports and Regenerative Medicine. Schedule your consultation at drmarkwagnermd.com.
For over 113 years, Pacific Lamp and Supply Company has been your #1 lighting specialist in Washington, from the Space Needle in Seattle all the way to the Riverwalk in Spokane. With the largest lighting inventory in Washington, Pacific Lamp's knowledgeable and experienced staff can assist with any lighting issue, including intricate lighting and control designs. Plus, they work with all utilities in Washington to get you the best available lighting rebates. Pacific Lamp and Supply Company, Washington's lighting experts since 1912. Visit pacificlamp.com.
You never get a second chance to make a first impression. Superior Linen Service will help your company with logoed apparel, uniforms, floor mats, linen, and more. Give us a call. We answer the phone. Superior Linen Service. It's what we do. Visit suplinen.com.
It's a classic odor tale. You fried fish for dinner, cleaned up, but the smell is still in the house. And the neighbors are coming over for game night. They're on their way. And then you spray Febreze Air Mist. Febreze Air starts working instantly to fight even your toughest odors, so you go from fish to fresh like that. Now, all you have to worry about is Pen cheating at charades.
Breathe happy, Febreze, la 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 la.
Jackson Hewitt wants you to save money on tax prep. We're saving money by having our intern rap in this commercial.
Don't stress, Jackson Hewitt's got expert tax prep, $149 or less. Yo, some tax guys lie about price. What? They got hidden fees, that ain't nice. Ain't nice. Don't ignore MC Kevin's rhyme, cause this deal's for a limited time. $149.
For tax prep that's $149 or less, hurry into Jackson Hewitt today.
No cap.
Limited time offer for new clients on federal returns. Participating locations only. Terms at jacksonhewitt.com/149.
We've all been there, sleepless nights, wondering if your business's security service is really protecting what matters. At Bay Alarm, we can put your security insecurities to bed. Our advanced technology and personalized support ensure you can rest easy knowing we're here for you. BayAlarm.com.
Welcome to Staples.
I hear Staples prints it all for any business?
You bet, and we'll beat any print quote.
So if I had a pizza place...
Staples can print signs, menus, pizza boxes.
A landscaping business?
Oh, we can print yard signs, t-shirts, brochures.
How about a pizza/landscaping business? I'll call it Dough and Mo.
I like it.
Right now at Staples, get up to $250 off your print purchase. Ends 4/5, exclusions apply. Visit staples.com/print for offer details. Price match guarantee valid in store and staples.com/print. Visit staples.com/price match for details.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today?
My car is making this noise. Sometimes it's like doot doot, and sometimes it's like grrr.
Do you have a dash light on?
Oh yeah.
And we don't have to listen for clues. With the free Fix Finder service, we can read a check engine, ABS, or maintenance light to find the likely fix and even recommend a local shop if you need one.
So you don't need to hear the grrr.
Not with Fix Finder. Free at every AutoZone.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
Vivid Seats is your ultimate destination for basketball and hockey this season. With a game-changing rewards program and an unbeatable selection of tickets, they make it easy for every fan to watch their favorite teams and players in action. Catch every one-timer and buzzer-beating 3 live and in person from your favorite seat. Plus, every ticket is backed by a 100% buyer guarantee, giving you peace of mind with every purchase. Don't miss out. Visit vividseats.com vividseats.com or download the app today. Vivid Seats, the official ticketing partner of ESPN.
A great lawn is like a great sports team. It takes expertise and a little extra care to really stand out. That's where True Green comes in. They're the official lawn care treatment provider of the PGA Tour, so they know a thing or two about keeping grass looking like a fairway. It's more affordable than you think, and they'll even match any competitor's price. Plus, True Green backs it all up with a satisfaction guarantee. Head to TrueGreen.com today. Let the pros do the work while you sit back and enjoy the results.
Let's go! This is Seattle Sports.
Streaming through the Seattle Sports app.
KIRO AM Seattle. KIRO FM HD2 Tacoma. Home of the Seahawks, Mariners, and everything Seattle sports.
Get in the freaking auto!
From the Quantum Fiber Studio, this is Brock and Salk on Seattle Sports.
Brock Heward and Matt Marcus. Sorry about just Mike
Heward. Not exactly Joe Cap there in the pocket.
Now here are your hosts, Brock Heward and Mike Salk.
All right, I promised that I would ask a question of you here, Brock, that you probably wouldn't hear anywhere else today. Try to bring a little something different. Maura said I was unique.
Really?
But she didn't say it in a very nice way, I got to tell you. Like, it wasn't like, no, Mike, you're great at this job because you're so unique. It was more like, yeah, you're unique, all right.
Unique.
Yeah. It was not. It didn't make me feel particularly good about myself or help the self-confidence.
You and your contrarian ways, you go out of your way to be a little
I don't. It's just natural. It comes naturally to me, I promise.
Just ask his mother.